Yes, it's another edition of This Week in vCons, and it's Jeff Pulver together with Thomas Howe. And I don't know if this is episode 4 or 5 or 5A. I lose track of these things, Thomas. But a good Friday to you. And how's vCons treating you?
They're treating me fine, but I don't know. I don't know how much coffee you've had this morning, or if you took
Not enough. But it's like it's when I hear This Week in vCons, it's like wake up, hello. It's like we can't do this sleeping. Oh, I'm frozen. Oh no, am I frozen? Oh no, I'm frozen. Oh no, oh no.
Oh, you're not that frozen.
Okay, my voice is there, but it's like I don't know, the video frozen. But it's so I was with Doug Green yesterday, this week, and he told me my calling was acting. That when we go live, it's like here I am, but it's like but really it's a so quiet person. How's it get so active? And it's because I am powered by the vCon. It is the power of the vCon.
Absolutely. So I am doing fine. I'm doing great. Frankly, I spent the last 2 weeks of my life in a deep design hole. And something has happened. Just it's kind of related to vCons, but not really. My whole team at vConic is really into the Anthropic environment and using coding agents and everything. And I'm beginning to understand that I can't outwork a coding agent. I get tired before it does, which is very weird because normally I pair with people to write code, and someone gets tired and you stop, right? But they never get tired. And so,
no. But by the way, are there any Claude libraries for people who want to build a vCon product?
You know what? Actually, yesterday we updated what's called a spec kit for vCons, and it's named vConic dev in GitHub, and the repo is called vCon spec kit. And spec kit is a new way of writing software. Jason Gecky, the CTO of Creo, now
Tresik,
introduced this into our world, and basically spec kit is a way of telling the robots the way you want them to write the code. So the things that are important to you, not important to you, use these frameworks, don't use those frameworks. And so our spec kit has all the open source vCon technology in it, so that if you want to write vCon applications, point your robot at spec kit, and you're already halfway there.
So from a developer perspective, if they were working with SIP and let's say had a webhook that pointed them to where the vCons were for the conversations they were looking at, could they take that and then take the spec kit and then have some fun with it?
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, like one of the initiation rites we do at vConic is you have to write your own vCon viewer. Which sounds hard until you give it spec kit and you do Unlovable, and it's boom, that's beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you what, I actually do have breaking news here at This Week in vCons, which I totally forgot about.
Yeah.
And that's that in the summer 2026, Free World Dial-Up is coming back. We're actually in alpha right now. And guess what comes? And as I mentioned last December at our first vCon Foundation meeting, every FWD user will have a bucket of vCons to call their own. And we're also giving them a webhook. So they'll be able to have their own development environment and learn for themselves the power of vCon. And you don't see this, but this is actually an FWD phone. It's connected.
Very nice.
I only can call myself right now, but that's okay because soon other people could actually ring my number, and we could and every time we have a conversation, it's going to go to the vCon, and so it's good to know about the spec kit because now I can tell people, hey,
yeah, well, send me a phone. So we had this saying at PictureTel that and PictureTel was the originator of video conferencing back in the mid 80s, and we did video conferencing on regular phone lines, and that's where 323 came from, our group, when we went to the internet after doing ISDN.
And you know what, I found that I'm testing with the GrandStream phones with wideband AMR. Great. I saw on Amazon they're as cheap as $35. So I'll tell you what, I am going to offer the first 10 people who want to join FWD and test with us and play with vCons their own phone.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now I can say at PictureTel we said the world's greatest optimist is the man who bought the first video phone.
Right. Because eventually there'll be someone else to have
Someone else to talk
with.
to.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here, and you can't really see it, but I actually do have a Grand Street phone, and it even says FWD-Jeff. So,
Very nice, yeah. Very nice.
so that's
very beautiful.
And because I'm thinking, how do we promote vCons to be beyond the dev community and into the more generic folks that are now discovering AI and want to code? And because they're growing up in a world where WebRTC works and this works and that works, but
Right.
but I think with the Anthropic IPO, the Anthropic IPO looming, and I think Anthropic's gonna be the first IPO in the AI era, sort of like the Netscape IPO was.
Major one, yeah.
And it was Anthropic who I believe stated publicly that voice prompting was more effective than typing, right?
That's what I hear. I'm so much of a typer.
Yeah.
Partly because I'm doing a lot of voice testing.
Right.
So I'm doing a lot. So the work I'm working on these days is around voice. So I can't be talking as my transcriber is talking because I'm doing other things with it. But yeah, I'm gonna get there.
Look at that. We have two people from LinkedIn. Shout outs to David Sperry and Claude. And tell you what, you just won yourselves 2 new phones. You have to drop your address in a message on LinkedIn, and we'll rev up the engines. I don't hear them play in the background, but of course I'm doing this live while someone is cutting the grass, but it's okay.
That happens. Hey, so talking about trying to get vCons out there, I don't know if I've talked about this here on our This Week in vCons, but did I tell you about the hack I did in China on the IETF sessions?
You told me that you created a bucket of vCons by going through, I guess, 10 years worth of IETF sessions, and you transcribed them.
I did. Yep. And so that data set's now available, but I'll tell you what I did with it, which was really fun. So what I did was I have some new guys working for me who are really smart, but not necessarily, internet designers, because where would you learn that?
Right.
There isn't a class to take internet design, right?
True. Yeah.
You just know that. So what I did was I made a primer for internet design, and I said, I'd like you to go through all these conversations and give me the design principles of the internet as revealed by the conversations in the IETF. So as IETF authors are reviewing specifications and talking about design trade-offs, they're captured in the conversations. And so what I did was I had all the conversations analyzed for design discussions, and I found the 12 or 13, design points of the internet. And I guess I would have known them, but I'm not sure I could list them. Like things like protocol ossification.
Ossification. Wow.
Ossification, which is a great term. It means things to ossify is to lose your vitality and you become brittle and dry, right?
Right.
And so protocol ossification is I wrote this protocol, but they didn't keep up with it. And so it became old and legacied. And so protocol ossification is something that we have to fight in the internet because we're writing protocols for the internet. And It's a big place, right? And it's hard to migrate. So we don't want ossification. And so anyways, those 12 or 13 ideas I put a report out, and
you put it in the conserver GitHub, right?
I put it in the conserver GitHub, yeah. So what I'm trying to do is to get people to understand the insane amount of information and insight you could get from a conversation.
Right? Well, I tell you what, the next step might be to take those insights and pump it into like Notebook LLM and create the podcast series.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And I'm thinking about Congress.
Ooh, the Congress?
Yeah, well, think about it. I mean, a lot of what they said and done is written down, but no one's ever actually looked at it over time. I kind of wonder if.
What about getting like C-SPAN archives, from C-SPAN 3 for the last 22 years and everything and saying, what's going on? And while could you imagine?
Yeah, very much. And
applying the same principles and seeing what we learned and what types of laws we've had ossification in and where.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and by the way, I've got my Mac Mini next to me, so I don't have to pay all the token costs.
There you go. Keep it local.
Shop local.
Shop local. Yes. Keep those tokens local to you. Well, I do believe. So I was at Channel Partners this week, and of all the, I've never been to Channel Partners before because I never could figure out why to go.
In Vegas, right?
in Vegas, but it turns out to be the place to go. I kind of met the new generation of folks in telecom. Yes, I met people who wanted to sell me. I felt like if I was selling used cars or selling any type of cars, I got the spiffs, I got this, I got that, I got that. It wasn't like, hi, Jeff, how are you? It was like, hi, Jeff, you want to make 15%, 5 times your money right now? Go ahead, and here's what you do. And it's like, what are you talking about? I had no idea what these terms meant, and I was simply being cordial, and they're trying to tell me why I should resell their products. And it's like, I didn't even know what I was reselling. But I did run across a bunch of lost souls who have done conversational AI, who were looking for partners before they got partnerships. And I was just sort of that random serendipity, synchronicity of just running into new people. So these are folks not from telecom, people that have built on different engines and have very clever applications. And so I kind of ran into some of those. I'm actively curating for Atlanta because we're doing in Atlanta, it's October, and I'm actively working on the curation process for our full Voice and Conversations on the Net conference. And it's, by the way, this is breaking news too, is on the first day, the vCon Foundation is going to be doing an introduction to vCons. We by the way, Thomas, since you're on the board, we have to figure out the education anyway. So we're going to do a 1 day, I think everything you need to know about vCons in a day. I don't even know what to call it, but the idea is that anyone who's wants to learn about vCons, wants to appreciate stuff. I wanted to go everything from the theory to the practice and demonstrate applications and get people knowing that where it's at. And
it's just a phase now. It's certainly one of my real goals now, and for the rest of this year, is to be an educator, to really help, because there's I always think there's probably two stages of learning. The first is learning what vCon was, right, and what it means. But then you learn how it changes your life,
and it's changing our lives. And the thing about what I was wanting to get to is with the Anthropic IPO looming, and the fact that Anthropic talks about voice prompting being more effective than typing, there has to be a major play for vCons in Anthropic, just overall, even if they don't realize it yet. Everything from being the layer to import-export conversations to how vCons and the MCP servers with vCons really bring this forward in a beautiful way. And I think that UI, and everyone in the vCon community could be providing positive commentary that you think it's powerful now, you ain't seen nothing yet, because we can actually drive more value through the work that's going on. And it's there's just a major play here, and we just articulating it and finding it, but it's there. Okay, V continuums. Okay, we're getting activity here on this is a breakthrough moment here on This Week in vCons. There are people watching us live. Wow,
right here, right now.
Yes,
and we're not in a vCon yet, but we will be.
No, but we'll have a vCon of the show. Of course, we will.
Sure will.
But in the V continuum, it's there's things happening.
we have noticed that there's been like this ongoing pun thing going on in vConic.
Isn't it vConic? By the way, did you rewrite the song "Ironic" isn't this vConic?
No, I could though. I'm working on my voice. Maybe I can work on that. That'd be really interesting. Well, this is really good stuff. I think that by the way, that's what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, has been the real time stuff and the real and vCons, as they relate to MCP.
By the way, is that controversial at the ITF? Because I remember being in Dublin and suggesting to somebody that vCons should be real time, and I got yelled at by a certain group of people who said that this was not a certain other group that did streaming media. Are we good with that now?
Well, yes. So so let's talk about that for a quick second. So I'm not really sure. Okay. So one of the important parts about the IETF is that we run on rough consensus and running code. And rough consensus means that most people in the room kind of agree this is what we should do. And, and that's what a working group is for, to make sure that when we write a standard, it's engineering quality and it's going to work because these engineers have worked it and we believe in it, right? So I don't know if I'm going to get the world to go, yes, real-time vCons, but I have heard from a number of people, especially in that group, saying the only thing was wrong with vCons, it doesn't stream.
Right.
And
So, by the way, I heard that too. And now that you're working on the streaming vCon, just reminds me of, like, taking something that's intuitively obvious. For a while, I was saying, no, it's only post. And then people are saying, but the value is in streaming. And so I say, thank you for doing that.
well, there are three values to a conversation, right? And streaming is the third of it, like when it's going.
Yeah.
Right? Another value of the conversation is after it's over for the analytics.
Sure, of course.
Right. So there's value in both places, but so as it turns out, and we'll submit this at some point to the IETF as an extension. We do happen to have a lot at the moment of extensions.
A lot of extensions. Your Morse code extension, genius.
Thank you. Oh, did you like that one? It was a love letter to my parents. And the people who taught me engineering. And if you didn't see it, it was an April Fool's, draft.
I'm taking that seriously. I'm going to hold you to it. I want that extension.
So it allows you to take Morse code into a vCon because, hey, that's a communications form, and biometrics are in your fist, your key, how fast you go, and that's
exactly. Yeah. Wow.
And both my parents were hams. My father, they took their license test together. So my father was K1AUN, my mother was K1AUO.
I'm WA2BOT. I get it.
Yeah, and I KA1JYL. I mean, it was a thank you to all the communications geeks who came before us, and it was a fun thing to write. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm going to put this in as a draft, and basically what I'm ending up kind of recommending, just at the very high level of it, is there's a protocol named Dash, which powers this, powers Apple, it powers Netflix. It's by the MPEG committee. And the thing about Dash is it's called a manifest protocol. So instead of it's streaming all the time, there's a URL that you go to get the audio, and that URL doesn't change.
So it's constantly it's just getting appended to.
Updating itself. So the URL doesn't change. You can read it while the conversation is happening, or after it's happened, after it's done. So you can create a vCon before the conversation starts, and use that URL.
So we're not dotting. It's not dash dot dash. We're just dash. Okay, I get it. Okay, fine.
Just dash, right? And so it's it kind of like splits the middle of, no, it's not really streaming. It's just using the dash protocol, but it's a vCon that's also valid after the conversation's over because the URL did not change.
So that's it sounds very cool. And as far as the timing goes, are we still thinking that 2026 is the year of the vCon RFC?
Oh yeah. We have another interim coming up soon where we're trying to Dan's been working so hard on the core. Diana and I are just polishing up the lawful basis and the privacy. So the privacy primer, the overview, and the core, those are the three that have to go out first. And then we get to the extension. So I won't really push this extension until because I already have 7 or 8 in there because WTF is in there for transcriptions and right. And then there's a SIP core MCP is in there, and there's a few. Consent, the lawful basis is one that has to get done. So,
wow, this is great. Look, 2026 is the year of the vCon. I believe that we're. And the other thing, by the way, that was big about channel partners was voice is back. People didn't realize that voice is cool again, and the whole AI revolution and the fact of people becoming aware of AI, they can't run away from it, and people are building applications, accidentally makes voice cool. And so it kind of like puts a spotlight on speaking, which is really nice. And while a lot of people do live on text, I do believe that we're seeing a renaissance of voice. And
absolutely.
And through that, the vCons become even more valuable and more useful, and people could focus on that. So that's
isn't it interesting? I mean, I like how all these things interrelate. So when people are at a distance, it seems like we text each other.
Yeah.
And that's what AI runs natively on, text, right? LLMs are text-based devices. But audio is what we do talk to each other when we're not far away. It's our intimate communication style, right? And I think that is one of the really interesting reasons why it's good for AI, because we're interacting with the thing close to us, right? It's an emotional thing. So I think, it's found its place. That's for darn sure. And just not how we thought, right? Voice is still
great. Well, look, I thank you for being part of my partner here at This Week in vCons. If you're watching and you like to be a guest in the future, drop Thomas and I a note and say you want to be a guest, and we're happy to have some guests. And my offer still is out there. There's still going to be 7 other phones unclaimed. So if you want to join the new FWD and you want to build on our vCon architecture, drop us a note. And the first 10 folks who say I want one, we'll be getting one. You got to send me a note here on LinkedIn. Thomas, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next week, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'll be around, Jeff. We'll be same bat channel, same bat
time. All right. Well, hey, thanks. Have a great weekend, and if we had an outro, I'd be playing it right now. Thanks for tuning in, people. Thanks for being here.
Take care.
Bye.